Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Hernandez, and I am here to help present my MLB Expansion Proposal. So, jumping right into it, the Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred have been looking to expand to 32 teams for some time now. In this expansion proposal report, an argument for why San Antonio, Texas deserves one of those two franchises will be discussed. 5 factors will be reviewed and analyzed and judged as to why San Antonio is the logical and best decision. All of the following have been taken into account: the population base, relative competition, the business climate of the city, TV and digital rights, as well as the facilities and transportation aspects of having an MLB team. One major factor any professional franchise is worried about is getting fans to the game. The more populated the area, the easier this burden should be. Now, more people doesn't always mean more fans, but it does represent a greater opportunity to build fans from the ground up based on the sheer number of people. Due to the fact that the city is home to only one professional sports organization, San Antonio isn't usually thought of as one of the United States' biggest cities. This misconception, though, couldn't be any further from the truth. San Antonio is the seventh most populous city in America, outranking the likes of Dallas, San Diego, and San Francisco. The other U.S. teams Rob Manfred has announced as contenders include Charlotte, Nashville, Portland, and Las Vegas, all who rank 17, 25, 26, and 28 respectively based on their population. With a population of 1.5 million people, San Antonio easily doubles the size of all those former cities mentioned. If that isn't reason enough to move an MLB team to San Antonio, then how about adding another 1 million people who live an hour up the road in Austin, Texas, or another 1.3 million people who live roughly 2 to 3 hours down the road in the Rio Grande Valley area, a majority of which who are diehard Spurs fanatics. To not as grand of a scale, but 2 hours away is Corpus Christi, who sports another 350,000 people. A potential MLB team in San Antonio could draw from more than 4 million people for a fan base that no longer would have to drive 48 hours all the way to Houston or Arlington for games. As an employee of the San Antonio Spurs, I know firsthand how far fans of the team are willing to travel just to see even one game. This should not be any different for an MLB team if choosing San Antonio as their home. Another concern for an expansion team is always who will they be competing with. This could mean fans, and depending on what department you work in, it could mean revenue as well. The only other professional sports team to call San Antonio home is the San Antonio Spurs. A hometown favorite, the Spurs have been in San Antonio since 1973. Seeing as the MLB and NBA seasons don't overlap too much, there is really no cause for concern as to why both of these franchises could not coexist. Along with the Spurs, San Antonio is home to several minor league franchises. These include the standalone AAA Missions and all of the Spurs sports and entertainment franchises like the AHL Rampage and the USL San Antonio Football Club. Since these are minor league teams, they don't accredit for as much attention as the Spurs, but in what market would they? An MLB franchise is an attention grabber as the game is played at the highest level. Some wild cards that come into play here would have to be the University of Texas at San Antonio Roadrunners, and to an even greater extent, the University of Texas Longhorns. Since football is only played once a week, though, this shouldn't come off as a threat. Games would never really be clashing heads, but maybe one weekend out of the year. In fact, this should be seen as an opportunity to build strong relationships with the universities and also sell group packages to them whenever possible. Looking to add a third team to the state of Texas may seem like a problem, but Texas has the population and size to handle it better than any other state. Are there Astros and Rangers fans in San Antonio? Yes, of course, but only because it is their default. It is the same way for Cowboys and Texans fans. The people of San Antonio don't have a home team to root for, so they have to go with another team from the time they were young. The immediate competition of an MLB team in San Antonio is slim to none, and all the more reason to choose them as an expansion city. All of the San Antonio Spurs sports and entertainment franchises work as one, under the same umbrella, the San Antonio Spurs. This could be the same for the MLB franchise that decides to choose to come to San Antonio, if willing, and all of the owners accept that fate. The San Antonio economy has been booming in recent years and shows no signs of slowing down. Jobs are plentiful, and this is part of the reason for the ever-increasing population influx. San Antonio is home to 5 Fortune 500 companies and 6 Fortune 100 companies. These include iHeartMedia, ranked at 426, CST Brands Incorporated, ranked at 306, USAA, ranked at 100, and 2 breaking the top 100 in Endeavors, ranked at 90, and Valero, ranked at 31. 2 of these companies, being USAA and Valero, are already major sponsors of the San Antonio Spurs, and would be more than willing to talk business about being involved with a Major League Baseball team. Apart from the sponsorship opportunities, there is also a great opportunity to sell group packages to these corporations, not unlike the great opportunity to sell packages to the major universities in the area. As discussed in the population and competition section, Austin comes into play here as well. Similar to Silicon Valley in California, Silicon Hills is a nickname for the cluster of high-tech companies in the Austin community. The amount of money being pumped into the Austin metropolitan area has been leaking down I-35 through San Marcos and into San Antonio for the past several years. When talking TV and digital rights, according to Nielsen, San Antonio is ranked as the 30 highest designated market area in the United States. The only MLB markets I see this addition affecting would be the other 2 Texas teams, the Texas Rangers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and the Houston Astros in the greater Houston area. Again though, when talking about population, there is enough to go around in Texas. What those markets will lose will be compensated for with the MLB in San Antonio team. So although the Astros and Rangers may not like the idea of a third Texas team, the MLB as a whole should be excited to see the impact this new addition will have to their TV ratings, especially in a baseball-loving city like San Antonio. They will see an increase in not only ratings, but also revenue generation as a whole. If there is one thing that is abundant in Texas, it is the land. This is the same for San Antonio. The city is so spread out that the possible locations for a new ballpark are endless. The money seems to be on the northwest side of San Antonio, which might be the best idea, as a team could go for emulating the LA Live scene or even the familiar Texas Live venue with the Texas Rangers and Dallas Cowboys. Not only would this include a ballpark, but restaurants, bars, and other type of entertainment scenes for that district. For the time being though, the best place to house the new MLB team would be the tried and true Alamo Dome. The Alamo Dome is a domed 72,000 seat multi-purpose facility. It has been used for football, basketball, soccer, baseball, Monster Jam, WWE fights, and even some international soccer games. It is located on the southeastern fringe of downtown San Antonio. What was once the home not only to the San Antonio Spurs for a decade, before they moved to the AT&T Center, was also home to the New Orleans Saints during their 2005 NFL season after Hurricane Katrina. Although the team was only there for a handful of games, they were welcomed with open arms, and the city and the venue itself put together a great showing last minute on how to put an NFL football game. The facility now hosts annual conventions, monster jams, along with the UTSA Roadrunner football games, and other one-off events as they get booked, including concerts. As discussed above, the location couldn't be any better for the first few seasons as the Alamo Dome lies in the heart of San Antonio, as it is within 5 miles of 4 major highways that cut through the city. Parking is nothing to worry about as well, as the parking lot capacity reaches above 25,000 vehicles, plus other nearby lots and garages in the downtown area within walking distance of the site. Now that the meat and potatoes have been presented to you as to why San Antonio deserves this MLB franchise, here is some dessert to top it off. The Alamo City has always been a tourist destination, not only in Texas, but the U.S. as a whole. People always talk about the Alamo and the Riverwalk as big draws for tourists. The city government plays a big part in attracting all of these tourists and work hard to bring big-time events to the city as well. The city in 2018 was successful in bringing the Final Four back to San Antonio after 10 plus years and pulled off an amazing string of events and festivals that culminated in the Super Bowl-like national championship game at none other than the Alamo Dome. This proves that the city has the capability of putting on first-class events. The city and Alamo Dome also have been home to the Valero Alamo Bowl for 10 plus years, along with the Big 12 National Championship some odd years ago. Another odd but promising gem as to why is because how the San Antonio community welcomed the New Orleans Saints with open arms during their 2005-2006 NFL season. The San Antonio area has been clamoring for another professional sports organization to call their own. They just recently missed out on an opportunity for a professional soccer team, so we can see this as their second chance. With the Spurs organization going through the rebuilding process, now would be the time to stir up some excitement in the city and give the area a new team to root for. Not to replace the Spurs, but to complement the Spurs. Along with all this, how can we forget the actual demographic that the league is always trying to incorporate more into their ratings and participation levels? The Latin and Hispanic demographic is almost, if not already, the majority in San Antonio and all of South Texas. With San Antonio also having close ties to Mexico, you can just add this to the number of possible fans and consumers that would love to have a quote-unquote local franchise. After all this, if the sheer size of Texas, San Antonio's population, the competitive economic backbone that keeps San Antonio upright, and potential ballpark locations haven't convinced you that San Antonio deserves this MLB franchise team, then I don't know what will. San Antonio, Texas needs to be the new home of an MLB expansion team.